Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we take a look at the astrological energies from April 30th until May 7th, as somehow we have already moved through the first 4 months of 2025, and now we move into the creative and stabilizing influences of May. In today's show, we're going to discuss Venus re-entering Aries, Pluto stationing retrograde this weekend, plus a fast-moving Mercury in Aries, who has renewed enthusiasm and clarity of thought to drive you forward after the retrograde periods that kicked off the year. So as always, we will discuss all these energies, but I want to first welcome the new subscribers and followers to this show. In this particular podcast, I focus on astrology as a navigational tool for your spiritual growth, intuitive development, and energetic mastery. There's a lot of astrology out there to connect with and understand, and it's always important to know the foundational basics. But my approach is based on my own intuitive perspectives that I offer you on the influences of the astrologies at this time, which also takes into account the 30 plus years of studying and practicing astrology alongside various mentors and teachers, as I've certainly come to understand the power of astrology and how it's such a beautiful tool for us to understand and work with as we move through these big cycles on the planet. So welcome, those of you who are new. As always, I hope something resonates for you, but don't force it. Don't make it fit if it doesn't. And I also have to tell you a disclaimer that I've been laughing a lot. And so I might have to stop myself and get myself together because things are unfolding right now that I find so entertaining, and a true confirmation of the higher frequencies that are coming in. Have you felt a lightness showing up in yourself? Have you felt greater ease and flow? I certainly hope so. I hope that the 3 Mars-Pluto oppositions that we've been through, specifically early November, early January, and just last weekend, have pushed something out for you, have been a strong force of evolution, up-leveling, freedom. That is one of the higher expressions of such an intense opposition that so many have been feeling and sensing. And perhaps you've been waiting for that release valve or something has to give. And it certainly is an energy that's deeply revealing the differences in frequencies. Perhaps you've heard of the Great Divide or the Great Split. Perhaps you're feeling and sensing that in the world even more. But part of how this supports our evolution is a beautiful choice point around what you are going to clear out and move away from that's been holding you back. Perhaps it's been a challenge, a limitation, something that is really coming to your awareness that you can't avoid or get away from because it's presenting itself for a purpose and a reason. This is time to face that aspect of yourself, that part of your energy field, and to become aware of how you can expand your energy field into new quantum potentials. Because I have felt that part of this ongoing pressure of that Mars-Pluto opposition was this quantum burst, a quantum leap of insight, consciousness, growth that we couldn't escape for a very important reason. And it's meant to be supporting you in some capacity, even though it doesn't present that way or you don't feel that initially. So now as the Mars-Pluto opposition starts to lessen in intensity, stay aware of what is arising in your consciousness, of what you're sensing or feeling, what you're seeing with new eyes, especially around this frequency shift that's been deeply changing the energies on the planet. Now, this frequency shift is going to continue. In fact, it's only going to get bigger. And I feel that for some people, you're going to have instant knowingness. You're going to have pieces click, like all of a sudden the puzzle is formed and you see something for what it is, or you see things as how they've been operating. Now, as I said, I can't stop laughing and I'm really trying to hold it together because this is exactly what's unfolding. And it's sort of like, when people think they're being really sneaky or manipulative or hidden and you can see everything they're doing, that's what's unfolding. And that's where the lower frequencies can't see the higher frequencies. And all you have to do is allow the wisdom of universal intelligence to play out and to allow there to be an unfolding of the full energy experience so that that energy moves through without distortion or interference. And that is one thing that is unfolding after this last Mars-Pluto opposition, is that more truth arises and it's seen for what it is. It also reveals dense patterns, manipulation tactics, secret agendas, and I'm seeing it as false light overlays. You know how people pretend to be a certain way and they're trying to present as being very light-based, but they're really about a very different agenda? All of that is going to continue to arise here. And it's important to stay grounded in your own truth, to stabilize your own energy field, remain focused on your priorities and what matters to you, meaning stay mentally clear and strong, and allow the universe to work its magic. Allow the universe to do its thing energetically. This is the divine intelligence of the cosmos. But for too long, especially on the planet, there has been a need to control the masses through various uses of glamour, influence, media manipulation, mass programming agendas, and on the list goes. But as we rise in these frequencies, we start to see more of the truth. We see things for what they are. You can't just use a false light overlay on something or someone. You can't simply manipulate messages or try to control narratives because people are sensing this is off, this is wrong, this doesn't make sense. It reminds me of the intense deep dive that crime scene detectives use to determine what's the motivation here, what's the driving motive that is being used. And once you see that clearly, everything else explains itself. But it takes that shift, that aha moment to get it and to get it clearly. And so that is part of what is unfolding. That is what people are awakening to. That is where the energies are being revealed in a way that, again, those of a lower frequency won't see it. They'll think, no, I'll just keep playing this game. No, I'll just keep manipulating and creating scenarios and doing things that I've always done. That's what's ending. Okay, so stay aware of that in your life. Be aware of that perhaps in your family dynamics or in your workplace. Maybe there's things going on with friends or people in your inner circle. Maybe there's things that you're just witnessing in the world at large around these separations and frequencies, and you're seeing things so clearly that it's obvious to you the intention, the tactics, and the agendas that are at play. These false light overlays are not going to be working anymore. They are crashing and falling down, and I'm seeing it as affecting a network of people. So this relates to the upcoming Pluto retrograde as well. So let's just keep going here with this. The Pluto retrograde is occurring on May 4th at 11:25 a.m. Eastern Time is when Pluto will station retrograde at 3 degrees 49 minutes of Aquarius. And this Pluto is holding the reverberations and vibration of the most recent Mars-Pluto opposition, which happened just last Saturday. So Pluto is holding that. And I see this energy pulsing out across networks of people, which is Aquarius. And so people can be connected behind the scenes. They can be connected through various soul groups and soul tribes. They could have common interests and shared objectives. And Pluto is pulsing truth into many networks at this time. Now, this includes networks within structures as well as networks that are their own standing entities, meaning they have people come together over that shared objective or shared passion. There's going to be more network failures as this Pluto stations retrograde in Aquarius. That means that networks of people who work together for a common cause, a hidden hidden intention, or maybe it's not hidden. Maybe it's very clear and obviously stated why they're together. But if the intention is not pure, if it's based on, let's say, something for entertainment value, or it has a very dark spiritual purpose, perhaps it's all about this false glamour. Maybe it's connected to betrayal. I'm actually now seeing hidden funding, organizations, networks, and groups that have not been above board with their funding sources, whether that is where money is spent or where their money is invested. I'm seeing this related to unexpected groups and networks, including NGOs, charities, civic groups, nonprofits. I'm seeing these groups that have been outside strict regulation, and I'm also seeing it as smaller communities that have been operating with dark intentions. Again, behind the scenes, sort of like they won't know we're working together. They won't know that you're paying me. They won't know that money is going over here. This is the time to assume, yes, they will know. Yes, they do know. Yes, it is clear, whether it's been obvious for a few years or decades. Okay, this is where it's coming to light. And I'm sorry for laughing. I'm not laughing because this is entertaining. I'm laughing because of the dense ego energies involved. The people who think they are untouchable and who think that I can do whatever I want. I'll never get caught. I will never be penalized. I'll never have consequences. This is the energy where, yes, you absolutely will, because this Pluto in Aquarius is revealing what is out of alignment with humanity's empowerment. And it reveals where there has been too much self-investment at the cost of many. And it's the many who are now being empowered. It's the audience, the clients, the subscribers, the buyers, the followers, the many who are being empowered to make appropriate choices based on what you're seeing, on the truth of the frequencies and the energy, at getting to the heart of intention and agendas. That's going to be a big theme here over the next 5 months, especially as this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius goes back and reveals and fact checks what people need to see. So networks will fall apart, communities will collapse if they aren't connected to a shared higher frequency. There will also be more issues with grids. And so I'm saying that as the electrical grid, as well as the energy grid and the Earth's ley lines, the Earth's light grid, which is being reformed at this time. So that's part of the work of Pluto in Aquarius too, is that as Pluto goes retrograde, there's going to be more failures around what is not performing well, what is not at the optimum level, and what is not designed to endure. Because I'm seeing that there will be more issues around technology, grids, mass systems, everything going on with the satellites. I'm seeing issues with Bluetooth connections where there will be interferences and distortions. Wi-Fi and internet systems will also be affected. So as a heads up, be prepared with what you might need to continue to live your life if there are temporary disconnections and things are not operating as they're designed to. Making sure your vehicle has gas, ensuring you have cash available, printing out any necessary documents or papers that you want to have on hand, looking at what you have stored digitally that actually makes you vulnerable if you can't access it or reach it. Just taking a minute to think it through and be like, okay, what do I need that is essential to my daily life, but I take it for granted because it's on my phone or stored in the cloud or saved on a computer. It's a great time to back up important files, to put them on a separate hard drive, and even write out important account numbers, phone numbers, passwords, just to have it handy and to ease any potential stress if you can't access this information digitally. I'm also feeling that it's important to pull our energy back into ourselves, ground into the fact that we have lived on this planet for how long now without needing to look at everything on our phones. So what have you disconnected from in your daily reality that you actually know how to live life, not always looking at your phone or not always accessing the internet? Of course, we don't want these disruptions and we wouldn't want there to be any more grid failures, but this this Pluto in Aquarius is going to do its work to show us what needs to strengthen, what needs to be upgraded, and how this can honestly be inconvenient for us at times too. So Pluto in Aquarius stationing retrograde affects all types of networks and systems, not only those involving people and technology and electronics, but the energetics on the planet as well. Gaia is being upgraded with the new frequencies. And as we move through Taurus season, which is directly connected to the Earth's stability frequencies, we're going to continue to feel the rumblings and movements of Gaia. I'm seeing this as the baseline frequencies on the planet are awakening and upgrading. Like I'm seeing the energy go into the crystal core of Earth, and those frequencies are shifting and changing. They're expanding and awakening so that the Earth can hold the new incoming energies of the cosmos. So there's a new foundational requirement that Earth is awakening to, and I'm seeing it work not only in the crystal core of the Earth, but then I'm seeing all these influences right outside Earth's atmosphere. So both natural and artificial influences, which are affecting the energy grid. It's affecting what we are feeling and sensing more often and more regularly. That's also being amplified at this time. And then when I go down the timeline, it keeps going. It doesn't stop. It's part of these new frequency influences that we're working with. And honestly, some of them feel like distortions, very unnatural and intrusive, and part of why we can have challenges adapting and grounding ourselves in at this time, because we are surrounded by so much stimuli and so many influences that we're honestly not meant to be connected to, meaning we aren't meant as human beings to have all of these ongoing artificial influences that impact our energy and distort not only the collective field, but your individual field. So our fields are feeling so much more. We're trying to figure out how to navigate it. What's practical? How do I ground in? And the energy I'm seeing is about going up higher into your 9th chakra. I see it above the 7th, above the 8th. It's the 9th chakra. So trust whatever that looks like for you, whatever that feels like. I'm seeing it as a very high crystalline coded chakra that is holding high frequency intelligence, and access points to that 9th chakra come and go. So as always, trust if this resonates for you, but I feel that is part of the big work that this Pluto in Aquarius is doing. It's working with us on multiple levels of our consciousness, as well as multiple levels of Gaia's energy field, and of course, expanding us out into the cosmos as we come into contact with even more energies than ever before. So this is the bigger picture of the long-term energies that are shifting at this time, especially since, again, that Mars-Pluto opposition that just occurred last Saturday, and now Pluto stationing retrograde is pulsing out more powerful signals of truth, revelation, and purity. And as I mentioned, the energy I was feeling around how Gaia is awakening at her core, I feel that that exact same reverberation is impacting each of us. So here we are now in Taurus season, which is about stabilizing our core sense of self-love and self-worth. The Taurus energy is dedicated, resilient, self-sustaining, seeks practical measures and understanding. Taurus is where we now ground in what we wanted to initiate and begin in Aries season and see what has legs, what can be done to make it real. Is it going to work? How much does it cost? What do I need to invest? And is this in alignment with what I truly value and want? These themes arise every year when the sun moves through Taurus, but this year I'm feeling that we are sensing what we are also ready to move away from because it no longer resonates. It's no longer in alignment and is truly connected to where you want your life to go next. So I'm feeling this as a very strong internal energy here, that if you have planets or points in Taurus and or Aquarius, you could be sensing that it is time to make some life advancements and changes, but this comfort zone is pretty awesome. What you have established is working. Are you ruining or messing up a good thing? Are you going to regret any of the changes or advancements that you want to move towards? Are you sure? And I feel that what we are sensing in ourselves is our own evolutionary growth that is naturally destabilizing. It will naturally shake you at a core level. And you could see this as a beautiful confirmation of your relationship to the universe, that the universe is sending signals to you that are disruptive, perhaps bringing up big questions and what should I do about this and should I go there and what about this job and how about this situation? And it's shaking up our core frequencies so that we can stay open to our own evolutionary growth. And even though that Taurus energy will resist and push away anything that you're not ready to say yes to, there are some messages here that you know you're meant to sit with. Or perhaps that's what you've been doing, especially when we look at the first 4 months of this year where we had numerous retrogrades. Now at this time, we have more planets in fire signs, including Mercury, Venus, Neptune, Chiron, and Mars. Plus, we have Jupiter and Pluto in air signs. So those new ideas, concepts, and potential next steps are feeling inspired direction to move ahead and make changes. And as I look at this energy, the more you can work with it intentionally and be open to change at this time, the more you're going to feel the wind on your back and that it's easier to take steps forward. So in other words, core change is right on time. It's right on time during this particular Taurus season, which could feel quite foreign and even unwelcomed at times. Now, with these planets in Aries, we are being divinely guided to align with new dreams in our lives. And we are receiving new codes, new transmissions, and new downloads of what that could be, what it could look like, what the potentials are. Maybe you're sending or receiving messages to the universe, to your spirit guides, to co-create what you want and how that looks for you. This is about intentional manifestation and feeling powerful in what you want next. And so use these planets in Aries, which initiate and get things moving in a new direction. Use the power of these Aries planets to then help form and structure what the Taurus energy seeks and needs. This can be a very powerful, like a bulldozing energy. There is a lot of drive and focus here in this lineup as well. Now on April 30th, we have Venus re-entering Aries, where she returns after her extended retrograde journey. When this Venus re-enters Aries, she is rebirthed and renewed. And I did do separate podcast episodes for you on this particular Venus retrograde journey because it is more spiritual and it is more personal. You could have found that you needed to retract into your energy more, that there was a lot you were sitting with, processing, figuring out, feeling into. And I did go into more of that specifically in those previous 3 podcasts. But now as Venus returns to Aries, there is an important shift in the energy field. And it reminds me of an ancient Greek sculpture I came across in the Louvre in Paris. In the Denon wing of the Louvre, there is a beautiful collection of numerous ancient Greek statues. And a lesser known one is called Armed Venus. It was originally created in the 2nd century CE, but it was discovered in Rome in the 16th century. This sculpture of Armed Venus depicts her holding a crossbody carrying case for her sword, and next to her on the left-hand side is a cherub holding up a warrior's helmet. The cherub looks to be giving her that helmet to put on, although we're only guessing here, and we can see the cherub's angel wings. Now, when you look at this statue, which by the way, I will put a picture of it on my Instagram, a lot of questions come up. such as, what is Venus preparing for? Why is she donning the attire of Mars? What is calling her to battle or to fight? And what is pulling at her attention? Now, something unusual about this particular sculpture is that it said that that isn't her original head on the statue, that it looks like it's been replaced by the head from another sculpture. And then when we examine the role of the cherub, it would suggest that she is traveling with a divine presence, that she is moving forward now with more divine protection, guidance, and support. And I felt that it was very applicable to reference this particular Greek sculpture because of the Venus retrograde phase that we've been in that has involved that warrior spirit of Venus in Aries, then being pulled back to the spiritual realms of Pisces, which I feel is symbolized here by this cherub that is traveling with her. And so it feels like this Venus re-enters Aries with a new sense of herself being divinely interwoven with a grand presence, with her spiritual guidance, and knowing that it's all about her intentionality right now as she begins to move forward. And I feel that this armed Venus is actually inviting us to ask bigger questions around, what do you desire? What is sacred to you now? What do you want to create, especially through the Venus energies of love, self-worth, relationships, connection, joy, and harmony? This armed Venus could appear to look like she's going to battle, or that she's setting off to enter into territory that Mars is actually meant to cover. But I feel that this is the energy of owning your own renewal from an empowered state of higher self-love and deeper connection to your spiritual self, your spirit guides, and your unique communications with the universe. When I see this sculpture of armed Venus, yes, we can see the cherub. Yes, the cherub is right there. But what if that cherub was not viewed by her? What if she can't see it? What if she isn't aware of the divine power that is guiding her and traveling with her? Well, then she might think she has to go to battle. She has to prove something, or she has to demonstrate her strength or her abilities, or prove that she's capable and she's strong enough. But what if what we are entering into now, as this Venus enters Aries on April 30th at 1:16 p.m., and then has her first ever conjunction to Neptune, now in Aries, at 1 degree on Friday, May 2nd. And what if that cherub isn't handing her a warrior's helmet, but what if she is declining it and saying, no, I don't need to enter into aggression or warrior spirit at this time, because I'm traveling with more of my innate power and God's self-presence to navigate this next chapter with a renewed boldness and sense of confidence. And that conjunction to Neptune in Aries can also be a massive download around your new spiritual truth that you are integrating, embodying, and ensuring truly lands in your heart space, in your self-love, in your creative inspirations, and assisting you in reframing this next beginning point from a much higher frequency. I feel that this is a more empowered Venus who understands not only what she's capable of, but understand that she's deeply partnering with the universe. And that is part of how divine feminine energies work, where your ability to create a relationship with anything, anyone, any feeling is how you powerfully co-create from a more evolved state. And we are on a growth trajectory of higher creations on the planet, both as our individual selves and with universal forces. That's what this Venus is feeling at this time. And that's also why it can be hard to grasp or understand exactly what's going on, because there are some big transmissions and downloads coming in that will take time for us to ground. You might feel wildly shifted, renewed, beautifully inspired to try something in a whole new way. You might feel a deeper trust in yourself that you can't quite understand or put into words. And I do feel that this is all related to our 5D multidimensional expansion, as well as the elevation of crystalline energies that do make us feel lighter, more joyful, more alive, and have the capacity to flow with these parts of ourselves in a whole new way. This could be very invigorating. Now, after Venus has that conjunction to Neptune on May 2nd, then Venus moves ahead, and on May 6th, she sextiles Pluto, now retrograde in Aquarius, at 3 degrees 49 minutes. And Venus sextiling Pluto is the third and final time she will interact with Pluto during this particular retrograde phase. And there is empowered understandings here around who she truly is, what she wants next, and what she is determined to create at a whole new level of her life. Now, this particular sextile to Pluto has been helping you reframe and create a new mental energy field around what is possible for you in your life. And I feel that it's part of our future self sending mental concepts to us around what is possible and to look at what you feel is strengthening. Like I'm getting the energy locks in. Something has been locking in for this Venus, but she's had to go back and clear some things out. And that's been a very big part of the retrograde, where she had to do it on her own. She had to understand more of her own cycles and habits and what was coming up that she needed to face. And then there's this liftoff energy here over the next week as she moves into this next version of her reality that is an energetic match to who she's becoming now. This is all big stuff. This is all important if you have planets or points in the early degrees of Aries and the early degrees of Aquarius. It also relates to planets or points in the early degrees of the fire signs of Leo and Sagittarius, plus the early degrees of the air signs, Gemini and Libra. I'm feeling too that there have been, it looks like these crystalline energies in the heart space that have been cleared off and reshaped. Like the shape of the heart has been changing and getting more clarity. Feel this as a baseline self-love frequency. And then I feel it starting to pulse out in the aura. Sorry, sometimes I slow down when I'm speaking because I'm trying to grasp the visuals. And the heart I'm seeing actually looks like a diamond. You know how the diamond has different cuts around it? I'm seeing a heart with those kinds of cuts around it, but it's refined, it's strong, it's clearer. I'm also feeling expansion in the heart chakra, that there have been some, I feel like crystalline breakthroughs, and even that intensity of power washing, just seeing power washing away the old, power washing heart-shaped diamond energies so that you feel stronger and clearer in what you love, what you want, and what you want to create next. So of course, take it if it resonates, but don't force it if it doesn't. And I believe it's this third and final sextile to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius on May 6th that continues to transform the heart space, which feels very strengthening, especially if you've been exhausted, confused, overwhelmed, or energetically deflated from that Venus retrograde journey. And when Pluto's involved, you can feel more confident in your nose, with endings and closures, and in acknowledging what is no longer true for you as well. You might realize where your energy has been dispersed, and this brings it all into line. Like I'm getting this streamline effect here that strengthens where you want to direct new intentions now. And so this is going to unfold here as we move more into May, but the energy is very strong this week and into next week. Now we also have a fast-moving Mercury in Aries this week, where we will see this Mercury in Aries sextile Jupiter in Gemini at 22 degrees on May 5th. This brings about happy news, joyful developments, good information, easy conversations, and even happy communications. This can feel like you have an idea that you want to take forward, and it moves forward with greater ease. And this is fast-moving energy as well, with both Mercury in Aries and Jupiter in Gemini. So expect a quickness to show up, but make sure you ground down anything that is essential. So write it down, make a note of it, highlight it, make sure you don't delete anything accidentally, and also stay conscious of what you're saying, because Mercury sextiling Jupiter is going to exaggerate a bit, and that means some details can be overlooked or forgotten. Then Mercury moves ahead and will make a conjunction to Chiron in Aries at 24 degrees on May 6th. So this is a week where Mercury is bringing around messages that we need to be aware of. And I feel that Mercury conjunct Chiron can reveal an injury, a vulnerability, a weakness, something that doesn't feel comfortable at first, but in Aries, it doesn't last long. This could also be a message around something you didn't see yourself, because if that Aries energy is too impulsive or short-sighted or self-involved, it will miss objective understandings. It won't see the bigger picture or what needs to be considered. So think about how that Mercury is going to bring a message to Chiron at 24 degrees of Aries on Tuesday, May 6th, that will be easier to sit with and ponder if you are more objective. So over this next week, it could feel like it's actually Aries season, with these Aries planets and influences finally taking off and moving ahead. But remember to be very intentional with what you're beginning, because you want to be in a place of working with the higher frequencies, of embodying what it means for you to do something differently now. Change is happening. Change is here. So how are you personally evolving? Because this is a week where you could feel like your toes are at the starting line of something, and you're getting ready to be more courageous, to be more empowered, to do something that you're excited about and that you really want. But stay the course. Stay the course in that alignment with the new dreams, new directions, and new messages that are calling to you. I feel that the Sun in Taurus is a welcomed, stabilizing force and can help you keep it simple with what you need to do and how to move ahead. Mars in Leo is still in an opposition to that Pluto in Aquarius that we've been talking about, but Mars is moving away from that influence, and Mars is going to clear his retrograde shadow this weekend, but he has permanently changed. There have been ego deaths, removals, collapses, destruction, lessening of his personal willpower and desires, and now he is recalibrating to determine what he wants next. This Mars in Leo could have been involved in a competition that he lost, which is affecting his pride or his sense of self. That is all part of the ego losses that are needed at this time. And this goes back to, again, what I was seeing around our core energies awakening and evolving, where we are meant to approach all areas in our life from a new heart-based connection. And I feel that that's one of the best outcomes here of this Mars now in Leo, is that we're more connected to our heart space, going back to that heart chakra expansion, more connected to what it means, feel love, to be love, to approach and interact with others from that higher frequency, and to lessen that need to overly compensate or be an egomaniac or think that it's only about you. Because that Pluto in Aquarius, remember, is holding the frequency of the collective and what's best for humanity at this time. So I'm saying all this because I'm getting the message that you might have a change of course here, where something seemed like it was right for you, it was the best direction, yes, I want this. And now, after the past 5 or 6 months, you're realizing, nah, it's not really true for me. It's not what is for my best and highest good. It doesn't resonate truly at the core of who I am, and I'm going to let it go. And in fact, letting it go can be very brave. That can be very courageous if you find that you are steering off in a new direction that lights you up more. So those changes, of course, are right on time and are certainly part of the astrology of this time period. We're going to be led to new creations and co-creations. I've heard from some of you, many of you, that you are going off in a new direction for your job and your professional life. And I don't want to discredit the feelings that come up when we have big life changes, especially ones that rock our sense of stability and security. But what you are being directed to now is going to be worth it if you choose that belief system, if that is something you are willing to open up to and move towards. We live in an abundant, prosperous universe filled with many options and possibilities, and I hope you can feel that energy flooding in for you, that you are divinely guided on this new path and trajectory, and to make sure that you're welcoming in what has your name on it now. Empowered new beginnings are here, and the universe always has a next step. And so I do hope that arrives for you sooner than later. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this podcast, there's a certain way that I interpret and work with the astrology energies, but we are lucky at this time to have many excellent astrologers here on the planet, people who are doing great work and supporting the collective in knowing yourself, especially through astrology. So I wanted to give a shout out to some astrologers that I think are top notch and excellent at what they're doing at this time. I know I've mentioned Leah Whitehorse before, but she is so brilliant in how she explains the energies. She pulls in the asteroids and creates wonderful visuals and imagery of the astrological energies. So please check out Leah Whitehorse. She has a podcast. She's also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I also really love the work of Ulrika Sullivan, who is a galactic astrologer. Ulrika has a way of getting to the depths of the transformations we're moving through by pointing out the bigger galactic energies that are influencing us. Ulrika offers insights through every new moon and full moon and describes more about the galactic energies that we're experiencing. So please check out Ulrika Sullivan. For a few years now, I've also really enjoyed the work of Heather Ensworth as she brings in deep intelligence and brilliance to the astrological language and energies. And if you haven't seen her work and her offerings, please check out her YouTube channel, as you might deeply relate to some of the insights she shares, as well as the multiple layers and levels of energies we're working with at this time. And in fact, she just had an interview with the one and only Barbara Hand Clow, who is a legend. Deep bow to Barbara Hand Clow and everything she has shared with us through her astrological studies and wisdom. So check out Heather Ensworth and her recent interviews. And then, of course, deep acknowledgement to the one and only Pam Gregory, who is helping thousands, if not millions of people around the world at this time. Pam has such a brilliant way of explaining what's going on, as well as introducing new astrology topics and areas of exploration. So if you're not already familiar with Pam's work, please check out her Facebook page and her YouTube channel. I actually have a silent wish that she will be the first astrologer to hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. It's possible. Tell everyone, because what she is sharing is so important at this time and is deeply supporting the collective during this evolutionary phase. I feel that astrology is a beautiful community of ongoing conversation, dialogues, and topics. Of course, there's many great astrologers at this time, but I just wanted to highlight some who I feel are coming from a very pure, honest place to support everyone in making the most of these very wild energies at this time. So on that note, thank you very much for connecting with me. It's a joy and a pleasure to interact with you through this podcast episode every Monday and Wednesday. I will be releasing more videos on YouTube as well, so do check out my YouTube channel as well as my playlists, where I have an extensive collection of teaching videos that I hope assist you in getting to the heart of your own astrological chart even more. Wishing you a beautiful journey here as we enter into May. Yes, I will continue to be laughing and enjoying the energies of these frequencies. And I hope you're feeling more of these joyful frequencies too. Take good care, and I will see you back here very soon.